we're back in there, I believe, right? Yes, hello. Welcome to another exciting episode of Super Desperation Radio.
You can't make it through an introduction without messing it up.
That was like a really Porky Pig-ish introduction, too.
Totally did it right. What are you talking about, guys? That was beautiful.
Is that what we're considering beautiful at this point? If we set the bar that low, gentlemen?
I hope not.
We are low and we keep getting better, man. It's all about one step at a time.
Pockets just listens to too much Christina Aguilera. That's it.
What?
You can listen to too much Christina.
I don't even get that reference.
Oh, you're terrible. I hate you. She has a bad song. That's what it is.
She has a bad song. Just one.
Wow.
Oh my God! Yeah, so we're all glad to be back here after a very exciting weekend of FGC and other gaming news-related stuff that happened all over the world. But I think the most important thing is to say, suck it, Seahawks. Yeah, we all.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I'm just say, you get what you deserve. Thanks for the interception at the end. Your one ray of hope was just smashed on the rocks.
Exactly. And to Dave Seattle, hey, thanks for the money.
I think actually the more important thing is to say that we are once again without Kelly this week. Still in the Shire. Still, I believe, living in the trees or a log cabin. I'm not really sure which.
There's a big snowstorm coming in.
I hit Philly yesterday.
Yeah, so she's probably living in an igloo. My understanding of geography, my understanding of geography is not that great, but from what I gathered, Maine is really known for their igloos.
What? Huh?
Isn't that where she is?
No.
You guys told me Maine.
What?
Look, I wrote it down. I have it right here. It says, Kelly, Red Lobster. Therefore, Maine.
Wow, you're a huge idiot.
I might be.
So, since she's in the Shire and there's a snowstorm, at that point, do they have third breakfast?
Damn, that's interesting. I'm not really sure.
Oh, we'd have to consult Ultra David on this.
The interesting thing, though, is that you know that they still have fourth meal.
Ooh. Thank you, Taco Bell.
Yes. Thanks, Taco Bell. You made my life a little better. That's all I've eaten today is some Taco Bell. So.
All you've had was the fourth meal.
Yep. None of the other ones, but the fourth one, I've got that covered.
1 through 3 are passe. That's the new hotness out there. That fourth meal.
Oh man, I just made me hungry.
Did you not eat all day, Chris?
I ate today, but I came home and Mom was cooking a chicken, so now I'm just kind of antsy about that.
Understandable.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
No problem, man.
But anyway, we actually got stuff to talk about for once, right?
Yeah, we have a pretty much a large topic to talk about. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about NEC. We'll be talking about the Guilty Gear Loke test. I think we're going to cover Skullgirls and the unfortunate issues that have surrounded it in the last few days that stuff has come out. And maybe hit on the VIACC coming back for Killer Instinct. It's been 20 years, right? Almost?
20 years?
Almost, yeah.
Are we embellishing the truth, or
it's been like 17 years. It's VIACC.
Oh man.
Alpha 2 has been it's a long time ago, man.
What was that? 97, 98? Oh my God. What happened at the time?
What happened indeed.
We got
So we're just gonna get the garbage out of the way first because that's what I want to do and I don't want to belabor the point too much. And the garbage is that NEC had a couple unfortunate events that sort of brought down the tournament for people at home who weren't necessarily there. The first one I didn't actually encounter and I didn't see it. I wasn't watching the stream. And that was a friend of mine was commentating Marvel. She's known as Guilty, and she got a lot of hate from Stream Chat. That's pretty common, but it's still fucked up. And it's not deserved because people need to act right for one damn thing. I understand that everyone thinks that everything is a joke, but when you don't know somebody, it's not a joke. straight up. So that's all I'm going to say about that, because, again, I didn't see it. I don't know her experiences at it and how she feels about it. The other thing that happened was I ran afoul of Stickbug yesterday in chat because I asked them to not use a certain word. And asking him to do that apparently set him off, as him and his fellow co-commentator decided to tell me to fuck off. It was his stream. He's going to do what he wants to do. And then they proceeded to use said word for about 10 seconds, just repeating it over and over again.
Just rapid fire.
Just rapid fire. And what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to argue the point about what you can say or what you can't say. That's not my argument to make. Because I was told these words are offensive by people they hurt, by people who are not in the majority, they're in the minority, and they are vulnerable parties. What I can tell you is that I just wanted him to consider other people might be listening, that maybe he was hurting his audience, and he told me to fuck myself. So that's pretty fucking stupid. And it's irresponsible. And it does make the Air Dash community look bad, because you represent them when you stream their tournaments. You make us look bad because you're being a fucking bad person.
I mean, the whole call Kotaku thing, it's kind of a joke in the community, but maybe if people weren't acting like a bunch of idiots all the time, we wouldn't even have to have a joke like that, because there wouldn't be any negative press because people weren't being idiots. But I mean, in reality, it's just, they were. So
it's people are mad because the cover is being pulled off the bullshit that we've been doing for over a decade.
Yeah.
I mean, not to get into other things too often, but the reason that so many people were mad about Cross Assault wasn't that it happened. It was that other people found out about it and held us up to say, wow, you're a bunch of shitty human beings. That's what they were mad about, that they got called out on their bullshit.
There was something that I noticed last night where, like, I obviously wasn't watching because I was preoccupied, but I noticed a lot of people were coming to Stickbug's defense, citing all the things he had done in the past that were good for the community and whatnot. And some people said, that's more of a reason why we should hold him to a higher standard, because we look up to this. We look to this person to present us in a very nice fashion, in a way where people would want to watch more of our stuff. And while I'm not really, I should always stress that if you don't like commentary, don't let it reflect the game or the community. Just let it reflect the commentators. But not a lot of people are willing to make that separation. Like somebody who hasn't watched a lot of Guilty streams comes on there for one of the few Guilty streams we've had in a long time, and they hear that and they're just like, well, is this what it's all about? Like, should I give it another chance, or does it even matter? And so, we shouldn't put the viewers in that situation,
Well, the thing about it is it doesn't matter. He has done a lot for the community. What's your point? I'm not even going to argue that, because it's not fucking pertinent to the conversation.
No, it's not.
He was being a piece of shit. That's it. That's the end of the damn conversation.
Yeah,
I don't care. Go for it.
People need to realize that regardless of what he's done, those are some shitty actions, and they were horribly immature and incredibly offensive. So instead of, dealing with what was brought up to him in a civilized manner and perhaps listening to the person's point, he decided to act like a child would and throw a tantrum by repeating what was brought into question. Now, none of us are saying that he hasn't done anything for the community or that he won't do anything for the community in the future. We're saying that this particular incident was terrible and reflects poorly, especially of himself, but then of what he represents, which in this case is this anime community. So we can bring up all the good, and we can bring up all the bad. The good isn't relevant at this point.
It's not a scorecard.
This isn't a scorecard.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, how many times has anyone ever been brought up in a scorecard whenever they're brought to task for something that they've done horribly? Like, any kind of horrible thing that they've done. Just like, oh, well, he fed a puppy the other day. It's not as bad anymore, right?
Yeah, and people want to argue context. Context doesn't fucking matter because it doesn't matter if it was a joke. You've already hurt the person. You can't say, "Oh, it was just a joke," and they're gonna be like, "Well, guess what? You're right. It didn't hurt now because it did 10 minutes ago, but you've erased it by saying it's a joke." That doesn't happen. That's not reality.
Kappa doesn't work, people.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
So
Yeah.
the other thing I'd like to address in regards to all this is people saying, why didn't anybody at the event bring this up? And a lot of people have brought up a really good point. The bystander effect. When you have a lot of loud, belligerent idiots being belligerent idiots, it's rather difficult to bring up things to their attention. There's not a lot of people that have the sort of willpower to go up to someone and say, hey, cut this shit out. It's hard. And I salute anyone that does do it. Because I know that shit is tough. So, if you think for a moment that any of the people in this call, in this show, would not go up to someone being a jackass and tell them to cut it out, you're wrong. We will do it. We have done it. This is not something that we put up with.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't. And here's another thing. I'm not going to sit here and act like I wasn't a shitty human being at one point as a youth, like younger, like I wasn't a hateful person that used certain words just because I knew, like, it was edgy and whatnot. I was a dumbass at one point too, but I learned that you can't just spout out at the mouth when you're like, when you're representing somebody else, even if the TO and the producers and the sponsors tell you, like, yeah, sure, let it rock, you probably still don't want to go too crazy with it, It's just, and I know it's hard to like eliminate certain things from your vocabulary. I've had to struggle with it for the last 2 years, and some people may have noticed recently that some words I've just completely omitted from my everyday speech, either in commentary or on the show or just in person. So I can tell you, like it's not going to be a very quick process. It's definitely something that's going to take some maturity, some growth, some hard thinking, and hopefully you come out of it on the other end like a better person. I'm not saying Stick Butt is a bad person. He's done a lot of good things, and I respect what he has done, and that's why I would like to tell him, like, hey man, like, you're better than this. You don't have to work blue.
But
And that's pretty much it. We know where you're coming from. It's not like you can't change.
yeah, and I'm just gonna basically say that that's it. That's all we're gonna talk about. This conversation is done. If people really want to argue about words they can and cannot say, I advise them to go talk to women, go talk to minority groups who are victims of these actions and these words, and see what they have to say. I'm not gonna make that argument. It's not my argument to make. And that's it.
All right.
And we're done.
We're done with that. Not with the show, just with that.
So, however, the rest of NEC was pretty awesome from all things I saw.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Like, I actually did manage to catch that, that the last few matches between Justin Wong and Sanford, and I had heard about what he had done beforehand, and I thought that was brilliant, Brilliant programming, brilliant play. It was real fun to watch. Definitely at the end was, for a lot of people who don't know, I was in a hospital that night, the situation isn't important, but I happened to be watching the stream on my phone, and I literally was just like freaking the fuck out the entire time. The nurses are coming and saying like, hey man, do you need help? You're just in the waiting room, man. What's wrong with you? So
It was an awesome match.
It was.
And I don't know if it was that because it was impromptu that made it feel that much more special, or if it was just because it was a call out. It was, it was Sanford. Sanford and Justin have this history that everybody who plays fighting games knows so well by this point. And just to see those two guys sitting there playing basically for pride, I don't know if that made the match better by itself, or it was just that it was a good match, or it was both. But it was the best Street Fighter 4 I think I've ever seen. Because you could tell they both wanted to win that.
Yeah, and like the WWE style call out was pretty tight.
I missed that.
No, it was just kind of like, Sanford had just beaten Aqua Silk rather decisively. What was that, 5-0? With a Raging Demon finish?
Oh my god.
I didn't even see the Aqua Silk match. It happened so fast. I just heard he got destroyed.
Yeah, it was pretty bad considering that Aqua's a pretty good player. And he got showboated, basically, because he did jump in Ultra against a DP that never came. And he didn't protect any Russian skies, but he did get Raging Demon by Oni. And then afterwards, it was just one of those, hey, who wants it kind of moments. And, I think he just pointed at Eduardo, and that was the next match.
Yeah.
And
yeah, the funniest... Oh, go for it. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, it's just one of those things. Like, I think most of us say we're going to admit we're not that enthusiastic about AE, but as someone who's a fan of really high-level play and people being genuinely enthusiastic and willing to win, or wanting to win, I should say, this was really, really fun to watch. Like,
yeah.
A lot of tournament play doesn't allow for certain matchups to happen just because of the nature of brackets and the way seeding works. So these kind of exhibitions are actually really, just for the lack of a better word, they're just really cool.
Yeah.
And
like the bad thing... Oh, go for it.
I was going to say, like you said before, it's actually fun and and it's hard to tell whether or not people are really having fun anymore doing this because there's so much like extra shit on the side that rides on it. And this is one of the few times where it really did look like, two guys were just like, well, Sanford and 3 other people were actually just doing this for the fun of it, And maybe there was going to be some pride and shit talk on the line, but damn it, it's even been a long time since that was going to, be an issue.
Yeah, it feels like that. I mean, the only bad thing I can say about that is after Justin Sanford, any of the other money matches, exhibition matches that they played the rest of the weekend just weren't as good. I mean, watching Marn versus Flux, I was like, damn, the high point of the evening is already come and gone. I couldn't even care that. I couldn't even care anymore.
I'm just like fucking dying at the idea. It's like, we just had Triple H versus The Rock. Next, we're gonna have Al Snow fight some trash cans.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
What does everybody want?
Trash?
Trash cans. That's what everybody wants.
You can vote about that on the IPW page. Which one's a trash can?
Yeah.
But the other funny thing that happened on the way to NEC was that we didn't get Kokonoe and BlazBlue top 8 singles. We saw it in teams, but it really felt like teams was won more by Kagura than anything. Having watched a lot of that stream, it looked like a lot of people still don't know the character matchups in that game.
Yeah, it was really telling. I watched pretty much all of the BlazBlue, and Omniscythe just did work with Kagura, which obviously points to a lot of people being inexperienced. I'm not going to take it away from him because he obviously seemed really ready with his character, even to the point where he was going for showboaty stuff, like doing his super and then RCing it early, so it causes like a hover effect from the hit stun. So he obviously knows his character in and out. But there were so many instances where people would get put in a sort of mix-up situation up close, and people just didn't seem prepared for what Kagura had to offer. He has a really hard-to-see overhead that's relatively fast and has a really hard-to-follow animation because it's just a twitch of the elbow.
Yeah.
Like imagine Hazama's elbow, but without the big, hey, I'm dropping on you kind of animation to it.
Yeah, he like just twitches and...
Yeah. And Omniscythe also used the stance cancels and just not doing anything from the stance in the air as a really good mix-up, where he would air dash, use the stance in the air to kill momentum, and then just drop into a high-low.
Yeah. He was just clowning people with that character.
Yeah,
Pretty bad, actually.
And nobody's complaining about him.
No. I think there were definitely times where it looked more like people just didn't even know what Kokonoe did than they were losing to good Kokonoe players. Lord Knight even went on Twitter after his team got knocked out and admitted that it wasn't the character he lost to. He said, I was playing like shit.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these Kokonoes weren't finishing combos.
Yeah, that was exactly going to be my point. For the most part, it seemed like people picked up the character and just didn't really sit down and flesh her out. Like, the number of black holes that I saw was abysmal. You would imagine that the reason that this character is ridiculous would be something that would be continually on the screen.
Yeah.
And you didn't get it at all.
Yeah, there was one.
Yeah,
I saw one all weekend.
Yeah, I saw one and it was like a sloppy setup.
Yeah, dude, it was one black hole into, I think, maybe 2,000 damage.
Yeah, and
I was like, sick.
see, I'll admit that after playing the character more and more and watching Nerd Josh develop and like figure out what to do and how to maximize things, and then playing against Severin, who, if you know Severin is someone that's going to do his best to maximize damage and be that person you hate for playing the character you hate. After playing both of them, I'm like, yeah, I can see this character being really obnoxious. I'm still beating them or taking rounds off of them or going, back and forth with a character that can't get out of black hole.
Yeah.
And watching that type of play compared to what I saw at NEC from most of the Kokonoes, I was really disappointed.
Yeah.
I was expecting to see, what was his name? I think it was Axis, who chose Kokonoe, lost, and then went to Azrael. Like, what does that tell you? You're not comfortable with the character. You're going to herp-derp your way into a win, but it turns out you just can't herp-derp that easy.
Yeah. And I mean, the only one I saw actually hit somewhat of consistent combos was Pain from NorCal.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yo,
Pain,
buddy!
your boy Pain definitely knew, or definitely was more up to speed than everyone else.
Oh, yeah. Out of all the Kokonoes I saw, he was the one who looked like he was the most polished, that he actually took the time to try to make the character be as broken as she supposedly is. And I mean, I'm not going to argue. It's quite possible that as you start to see people get better, this character is really bad. Like, she has everything that any character could want in this game, and her damage scaling is off, and she has unblockable setups into 7,000 damage. That's kind of rough. So, I don't feel like we have the proof that this character needs to be banned, but I definitely feel like we're setting the table for it. Dinner's coming, but it may just be one more tournament.
If Pain wins, we ban her.
Damn. There you go.
I honestly, just from a quick point on the Kokonoe, I was so disappointed to see the combo damage output from everyone there. I think the highest combo that I personally saw, there's obviously way more, it was like 2,400. A lot of the combos I saw weren't even over 1,000 damage because people just, I don't know what they were doing. It felt like they were just kind of pushing buttons and then just like, I'm going to go into this kind of, reset setup and then do it again and then get like another 1K or do nothing off of it. I don't know. It was a little sad.
And there wasn't. I think I saw one, maybe two mid-screen 4K combos, which she has. And what I didn't also see is I saw almost nobody playing the ridiculous zoning game that she can play. I watched a little of Sujikawa play net play with that character, thanks to Jordal's uploads. And she basically, characters like Hawkman don't get in. She's like, I'm going to set up the mine, I'm going to set up the graviton, I'm going to throw the fireball, and I'm just going to hang out behind it. What are you going to do?
Does it just stay there the entire time?
Basically, when you set graviton out, and the fireball gets attracted to it, and it stays on the screen longer than it normally would.
Oh, shit.
And if she thinks that she can get a free combo, she'll teleport to graviton, which will cross you up between it and the fireball, and then she gets a mix-up. And then if she doesn't hit you, she gets to run away and do it again.
Yeah, because her mix-up involves her having really obnoxious lows and a overhead that hits twice and is cancelable. Yep.
I didn't know it hits twice.
It hits twice, and both hits are overhead.
Yep.
Oh, God.
And one of them's technically airborne.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's one of those things, though. It's like, if you can actually train yourself to react to that character, it's not that bad. Like blocking instant overhead C or blocking just a command overhead, it's not that tough. Once you train yourself to see it, you can actually throw the overhead most of the time. If you instant block, the normal that came before it or whatever stupid setup that they're doing if she's being sloppy. But she's still a really, really oppressive character.
Yep.
Graviton makes it so some characters just don't have fun.
Yeah. She could very well be the Chun-Li. The third strike Chun-Li in this game. And the thing about that is that Chun-Li never got banned in third strike because everybody had decided... A couple of things happened. Everybody decided that if she got banned, then there would be the next character would be just as broken. Or the thing was, we weren't going to do that because of the arcade. Because Japan didn't ban her. Well, guess what? Kokonoe is not in the arcade. She's a console-only character. And she might just have to get banned.
Remember when that mattered?
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting point in regards to she's not arcade standard. And people are still playing her.
Yeah.
We're not going by this sort of archaic thing where it's like, oh, well, if it's not in the arcade, then,
Well, like, a lot of that had to do with the fact that, like, we were hoping international talent would want to come through and feel as comfortable as possible without having to deal with, like, our snooty console bullshit.
Yeah. Well, they're playing her.
Oh, and are they playing her?
They're playing her, they hate her, but
they're playing her.
But so far, America's just been kind of lackluster in terms of showing us why this character should be banned.
So what you're saying is we need, like, a godlike Japanese Kokonoe to come in here and just make us claw our eyeballs out?
I don't even think we need a godlike one. We just need one that knows how to set up black holes and finish the combo. Can we just have the male Severin to a tournament, like, fund? Can we just have that happen?
wow.
Donate to Severin. Let him show you the way.
Dude, they were seriously playing Severin last night on a pretty decent connection on PSN. And seriously, these were the games. This is exactly the game would go. Round 1. Oh, crap. He hit me. I got perfected. Round 2. Hey, I baited his burst. I perfected him. Round 3. Ah, crap. I ran into a landmine that I didn't see. Well, I lost. Like, we seriously just went back and forth perfecting each other for a couple minutes. Because it's actually possible to beat her. Like, once she loses her burst, her wake-up option's butt, because she does have teleport, but if you know they're going to do it, you just meteor with jabs. And it might be a little easier for Bullet because she can set up this persistent situation off a lock-on where she gets a safe jump or she gets a fireball mix-up that can meteor her, or she could just meteor with 2A. So I kind of can create the same generic situation off any Bullet combo. So it might be a little different. But then again, Bullet can't do anything to get out of black hole setup, so it comes down to one of those matches where, oh, did she touch me? Well, I lost. Oh, did I touch her? Hey, I won.
Yeah.
I'm the best.
Depending on the character you play, your results may vary. Like, other characters have way easier ways out. Like, if you play Azrael, you just kind of laugh most of the time.
Yeah, it just basically becomes... It's not that Kokonoe is unbeatable, it's... Did you let her set up her garbage for whatever reason? Now you might not win. You might not even have a chance to win.
That's pretty rough shit.
Yeah. But that's what happens when you basically give a character Rachel's wind ability with almost no cooldown. No cooldown time. Basically, she can throw a graviton, she can repulse the graviton, wait, and in the meantime, she throws down the electric mine, and then her bar is already full again. So she gets to just sit there and continually throw gravitons all out wherever.
It's like a Tager that doesn't want to touch you.
Yeah.
Or doesn't have to touch you.
She's reverse Tager?
She's reverse Tager. Tager wants to get in and put grips. She wants to stay away, but she also has the same kind of powers.
Reverse Tager, and, you guys say that, but if you really look at it, Tager is horrible. And Kokonoe is good. Oh, yeah, perfect.
Oh, yeah, it's reverse.
Oh, there you go.
Actually, you might enjoy this, Tony, since you like playing Tager. He can actually do a reverse car throw.
Really?
In that he doesn't get closer, but he pulls them closer.
That's awesome.
That's pretty funny.
I'll show you that when, you actually play a game.
Yeah.
When you play a game, amazing.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
I can't wait to play
BBC P. Serlin.
Yeah. But other
Oh,
than
it's too
that,
early to talk about circles.
the Guilty Gear tournament was, at least singles, was really good. Jace, originally from Kentucky, now living up in Seattle, took it home, which there was probably more people from the rest of the country at NEC than I may ever have seen in a Guilty Gear tournament. Definitely more people from the West Coast, Seattle and California, than I've ever seen travel east for Air Dash tournaments. Because the Midwest and the East Coast have always traveled back and forth amongst themselves, but California was well known for not leaving California. It was really, really good to see those guys make it out to the East Coast finally. And they won, which is pretty interesting considering you've always had a lot of people doing a lot of talking about what's their best region. So,
Oh yes, I remember those days. I mean, at one point, like Midwest was like, you know, the Guilty Gear hub, and then people were saying SoCal came up, and then I heard a lot of noise coming out of Reno of all places.
Reno, was that Kugler?
Coogie and some other cats, man.
Reno Rob, the throwback.
Yeah, dog. Came out to SF to play Slash when we first got it at RNC, and like we couldn't beat them, and I was just like, holy shit, we suck.
Reno Rob is from the way back machine.
Coog's like,
Wait
yeah,
a
you suck.
minute. Wait, we suck? NorCal? Oh man, it goes back
it goes
that
back.
far?
Damn.
Man!
Hey, to be fair, you guys did have the highest placing American player at Guilty Gear at EVO this last year.
That is true. We did have that.
Who won Blaze, actually? Was the team that won Blaze, was that the Seattle team?
No, Blaze was
Oh, it was Omniscythe and the two other guys. I don't remember.
two Kokonoes.
No, it was two Kagras and a Kokonoe. They were
No, it
first.
was two Kokonoes.
Was it? I thought it was the other way around.
Yeah, and second place was actually Team SoCal, or one of
That's
the two
right.
teams, yeah, which had two Noels. If I remember
Yeah.
right, that was Delta, Nano, and was that Breaker Dave?
Yes, it was. And then
It was
PNW
really close.
it was Huey and a Valkenheim player whose name escapes me at the moment. And I think nobody
Shin?
EXE was playing with them.
Let's see. Oh, I actually found it. So Team 1, Donkey, Kagura. Oh, actually, no, you were right. It was two Kaguras.
Okay, I was
Double
right.
Kagura with Donkey and Omniscythe, and then Akira Shiro playing Kokonoe.
Okay.
Lollyfornia. Great name, guys. Delta, Noel.
Repping
Breaker
really hard
Dave.
for us.
Yeah, Breaker Dave at Rachel, Nano at Rachel. Oh, Team Jordal numbered Task Force, or hashtag Task Force, featuring the one and only creator of all combo videos of all time, Jordal himself. Shin playing Valkenheim, and Hui playing Tsukaki.
I'm really glad that I wasn't the only person on stream who was like, "Oh damn, that's what Jordal looks like," because I'd never seen that guy in my life. So,
Oh, man.
and then I think fourth place was Huey.
Fourth place was Nobody EXE, Pain, and Chosen Ninja.
Oh, okay. So I'm thinking of somebody else then. My bad.
Yeah, but Huey actually put in a lot of work. It was one of those things where I'm just wondering if anybody remembered how to fight Tsubaki.
Yeah,
Wow,
he was
somebody
getting a
actually-
lot done with that character.
I heard she's not good.
She's alright.
Yeah, she's not. I was thinking about picking her back up. So what else happened there? I mean, like, I know...
Yo, I need to actually, as far as the results go, I needed to give a shout out to my boy, Common Sense, for taking second place in King of Fighters, losing only to our boy Romance,
To
and
Romance,
beating
right?
Pachu KOF, who got third.
That's good stuff.
That's
Right,
good
this
stuff.
is,
Real
Romance's, this is Romance's first appearance in a while, right? Like, since EVO? I don't think I've seen him in anything else, and, I mean, he's still
Well,
strong. So.
To be fair, I mean, there haven't been too many like majors since EVO.
Who cares about... well, they're tournaments in general, man. Like, I don't think he's
Well,
even been
yeah.
at a comeback.
Yeah, that's true.
Has anyone been at a run back?
That's a
Oh,
good question. I'm pretty sure nobody has.
I'm kind of confused on what's happening with that because like I don't see KOF anymore, but they still list it. So maybe it's like
In the
KOF
off chance that people come in, they dust off this, the fourth backup tournament, for people that actually show up, blow the dust off, and be like, all right, you guys can play.
You guys remember this game? The high definition combos.
remember Reynolds totally won the world championships and then everybody stopped playing.
One of my good friends.
Didn't this happen?
Bernard.
Didn't this happen last year? Like everybody
I
stopped
do
playing
have-
King of Fighters until like the last 2 months, and then everybody was
Pretty
going
much.
hard on it.
That's the way it always happens.
Everybody
I
had
do have
the
to-
wind taken out of their sails because everybody was like, "Yo, Balo's gonna take this man. Oh man, he's kicking his ass."
Yeah.
I do have to take a little bit of time out and give a shout outs to Team Midwest and the Curly Mustache tournament taking out New York. That didn't even get streamed because everybody thought it was so free. And apparently, oh my god, it's Andre, didn't drop combos and Team
Holy
Midwest
shit.
won. And that shit's hilarious to me.
And who was
What?
on Team New York?
It was Team New York was like Chris G, Flux. I don't remember.
Oh my god, he must have talked hella shit. I would.
But Team Midwest actually beat them. And nobody thought it was possible. Nobody thought it would happen.
Everybody's looking at the brackets going like, "Yo, you made a typo."
I wish somebody had recorded it. Maybe
trying to find
somebody
results.
did and it'll show up on the annals of YouTube. But
It's one of those
Damn.
things like the people that lost are just like, I'm just gonna win the singles anyway. Because we had an issue with that at a NCR a long time ago, where they had a Super SF4 teams tournament, right? And a couple of the top players that were on a team were clearly sandbagging, right? And TOs are like the people organizing, they're just getting pissed, like, what the fuck is this shit? And everybody's like, oh, I'm not putting out my A game for the team tournament. And it's like, why not?
well, the funny thing though is that the team tournament, the Curly Mustang, like normally team tournaments, don't cost a lot, but this was 25 ahead.
Right?
That's still some good money.
Yeah.
So,
What's the fucking problem with winning it, right? I mean, I guess like there is the off chance that you end up facing the guy in singles that you beat in teams, and he somehow downloaded you within that time span.
yeah.
Does that happen? I guess maybe.
I'm
So
gonna
are
be,
you
I'm gonna be
telling
real
me
here.
that people aren't playing to win?
I'm just $25.
Ahead.
The only way I would pay that is if I could pay the $25 myself individually. I do not trust 4 other people that much.
Also a problem.
Yeah, man, you got to rely on either you have to be the best player so that you can beat 5 other people, or your $25 is, the responsibility
Shit bricks.
of Walkman now.
No, it was a
I got
long-running
it,
thing.
guys.
This was the thing back in FFA. If there was a team tournament for Third Strike, I guaranteed you at least 1 OCV. I demanded that I get $1 out of my entry fee from every other player on my team. There's no way I would pay 25 and then
Yeah,
trust 4 other people.
especially in Marvel 3, man,
Yeah, it's
So
nuts.
because people are just still 2 years down the line with that game. People are still not solid.
That's another
I'm
issue I
telling-
want to bring up. We're looking at 2 years of KOF across the world now, and I'm still seeing cats who ain't that solid. They're getting better. East Coast is getting better. I'm not shitting on them or anything, but there's still some problems that are pretty fundamentally, like these should have been ironed out by now. And it might be because people aren't playing it, or because they just don't have it, or something like that. That's their own business. But I gotta say, when I was watching it, I was a little disappointed. They hyped up a match between Romance and some other guy on the first day of streaming, and it was kind of a, how would I say this? You ever seen like a gazelle running from a lion with a broke ankle?
Yes.
This guy fought like a fucking giraffe with 4 sprained ankles. And I was just like, and then they were giving him all these accolades, like, yo, man, this guy, he's the dude that first like brought the fucking Benny Moore lightning loop to America, man. And I'm just like, oh, really? Because I'm pretty sure that was Pain, but whatever. My side note, he like Pain, so I almost thought they confused him for Pain. That's racist. But so they set him up, they're fighting, and it almost looks like this guy's got him in the corner. He's got something working on him. And he gets him in the lightning loop, and I'm like, oh, yo, he's about to fucking put it in Romance's ass. It's going to be sick. Drops it. Romance rolls out of the corner, puts him in the fucking lightning loop. Like, what the is this like WWF? He reversed the turnbuckle smash on him, you know? He just grabs the dude and throws him in the corner and just starts wailing on him. That's pretty much what happened.
Actually, while we're on the subject of consistency, I just want to do a quick thing, because I didn't get to mention it while we were talking about Blaze. For any Bullet player that happened to play on the stream that I watch, please just come talk to me. Like, no judgments or anything. I just want to help you. I saw the shit you were doing. It's just, look, you're in Heat 2, they're at less than half health, and you have 100 meter, and you hit a lock-on, and you don't even splat them against the wall. It's just, I don't even, it's like, why did you go for the mix-up and try to splat them out of the corner? Come on. Anyone that was talking to me on that weekend, I'm pretty sure when I was talking to Tony, I might have been having, like, aneurysms.
It was bad.
Just like, what are you doing? No, why don't you want to win? The wall's right there. Splat him. Just, it was like one of those Harlem Globetrotter moments where it's like he's just spinning the ball on his hand. Take it from him.
I can imagine watching the tortoise in the hair, like, ninja kick the damn rabbit.
Yeah. But I will say, I will say that about, at least BlazBlue has only been out for, what, 2 months now? These are games that have been out for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's weird to think, it's weird to feel like people used to be more solid, but I think maybe that's just because we didn't see all of a tournament. We would see maybe top 8, because, somebody would have, like, the CRT hooked up to a VCR, and they're like, well, we've only got 2 hours on this tape, so we can only record top 8 guys. But it is funny. Well, and the thing too about KOF is it just feels like you were saying, people only play the game in spurts. They're like, oh, big tournament's coming up. I guess I'll actually practice.
Yeah, and like I can understand that, because maybe some people don't have the time to practice as much as they want to, but when they feel the call of competition, then they're like, oh, yo, time to get in the lab for a couple hours and then go to this tournament, And I guess I can't, none of us can blame you for not having time to practice KOF over whatever other game probably gets more than 8 entries in the tournament at any given time. But, clean it up a little bit, please. You should not be dropping the lightning loops. I can't even do them, but if I could, I'd make sure I didn't drop them.
Yeah.
See, you got to know your limits.
Yeah, exactly. And Romance, a guy who's notorious for knowing his limits and exposing himself constantly on stream, that sounded horrible. He actually went for the lightning loops and did a pretty good job of keeping them going, because normally he just goes for that BS meter wasting combo that doesn't even kill, and he still wins, but it's just like whatever, right? But he went for it this time, and he was just kind of like I kind of had to like hold my mouth shut by going, oh shit, he can actually do them.
You did them.
He did them, and he never does them.
This is the guy that said they were too hard.
Yeah, it said they would never be used in a real match. Too impractical.
Maybe he just doesn't think any of his matches are real matches. just sandbagging this entire time. Once he pulls out,
he's just searching the land for a worthy opponent of a death match.
Yeah, right. He's just like walking around and be like, I'm at Evo, I'm in top 8. Just sandbag.
Damaging combo on you.
You don't know the true face.
Oh damn.
But anyway, that's all I gotta say about the NEC KOF. I heard Romance won. Congrats to him. See ya when you get back.
Yep.
All I gotta say is common sense. His Rio has some serious legs.
Yo, serious legs. Like,
yeah.
You're playing a good fighting game character when they have serious legs.
He was definitely tough to corral. You know.
Like, I don't think that guy could be put in any cage. Uncorrallable, I would say.
I so don't even know what you guys are talking about. I'm just going to take myself out of the conversation at this point.
They had a team tournament for King of Fighters as well. That Romance and Karn from Canada won.
Ooh.
So it was that. I don't know if it was streamed though.
Your boy Karn, though.
We love you, Karn.
I saw him play too. He had actually I gotta give a shout out to Karn because like people were just like, whoa, people still play Kula?
Hey, some people still do.
Yeah.
Doesn't Michelle still play him?
Yeah, he still plays Makula and hasn't really although he did tell me at the last double KO that he wants a rematch with Vegas. And so a lot of people in the stream chat during KLF were saying like, yo man, when's Vegas gonna like, you know, like who's gotta fight the next team KLF tournament, right? And then they're like, oh, you gotta fight NorCal. And I'm like, nah, NorCal's done, man. You gotta go through Vegas now. We've got to work our way back up to SoCal. And then Michelle's like, I want that rematch. Shut up, dude.
Actually, didn't Vegas have a showing at NEC? I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
Trophy Club, man.
Trophy Club was out
Trophy
there,
Club.
yeah.
That hitbox
Yep.
over there hotboxing.
I don't think that's the same thing.
I call it.
I mean, I'm sure there were a lot of people hotboxing in Philly, but I think that's still not what you're talking about.
Hold on, is there a hitbox website? I need to hit them up. Can your product be used to hotbox? Please
I
advise.
just want somebody on the team to be named Hotbox so you can have it say Hitbox Hotbox.
Hell yes.
You got to say it 5 times fast.
Can you make me a custom hitbox that is just an accordion with buttons on both sides? I hold a box in my hands, you know, and then, you know, my left hand has all the directionals and the right hand has just all the inputs.
You know that's coming one day, right? When a hitbox gets converted to a hookah.
I'm surprised somebody hasn't done it.
I'm sure it's coming. Like we got beer cooler sticks. We got other what other kind of crazy stick that I saw? A fucking stick that was a toolbox. Why don't we just make, you know, a vape box?
Are you telling me an entire Craftsman toolbox?
Yeah, dude had like his tools and everything. They're probably a fishing box, a tackle box. Oh my god!
Dude, actually, did I ever tell you guys the story of the Fortress stick that Team Watts used to use, or the House of Watts used to have?
No, I don't think
So there was a tournament we had at I think it might have been LACC, one of the community colleges near LA. And what happened is that Ghetto Don was using the stick, lost, and this thing was massive. It was just made out of it was seriously looked like somebody took like an old speaker. It just took everything out of it inside of it, and it was just like covered out with like a 2x4 at the bottom to make sure nothing fell out. And then it was just a stick in the middle of it. This thing was huge. It was seriously like 4 feet by 4 feet in every direction. And he loses to some really crappy Yun. And then he just throws the stick at the ground. And it smashes. Like, it just falls apart, right? And I'm like, yo, you can't play with that thing anymore. It's like, that's what you think. But so as soon as he says that, he goes up to the ground and starts, like, pulling some of the parts away. Apparently the tools to fix the stick were inside of it. So this is, like, a common thing. Where he would just smash his stick and just take the tools out from inside of it to fix it. So for the rest of his tournament, between his next match, he was just piecing together this speaker box stick.
Wow.
Oh my god.
It's a man who knows how to control his anger.
Or he's just prepared for it.
He knows how to let it out and
that's
recover.
That is a man who is prepared for his own anger.
It's like, you know, some dude just like smashes his stick at a tournament and be like, dude, you can't play on that anymore. He's like, whatever. And he has like 4 more sticks on a cart. Yeah, just like pulling around. Some radio flyer just full of sticks.
You know, that reminds me of the story I was told about your buddy and mine, DS,
Oh god.
out in New York. And, you know, I don't know how many people know Raph, but, you know, he has a little bit of a temper problem when he loses to people.
He might get slightly irate.
He might get a little angry.
Mm-hmm.
So one time when TEs were new, he lost in a Street Fighter 4 tournament and proceeded to chuck his stick basically across the room into a wall. and Josh responded, "Hey, dude, I mean, if you don't want that stick, I mean, I'll gladly take it from you."
Stick, it
that
sounds like he
made
did a better
him
job throwing the stick than he did throwing the match. Oh,
shit.
man.
So, okay, but moving on from that, there is another thing I did want to talk about, and that is Michael Watson, a.k.a. Watts, a.k.a. the owner of Super Arcade, has started a blog about what it basically means to own one of the last arcades in SoCal, and sort of in America as well, kind of his trials and tribulations with it. It is located at superdojo.blogspot.com. He's just now starting it, but I don't know what all is going to be in this. But I think it's going to be an interesting insight into a lot of the crap that he has had to put up with and puts up with daily to try to give people a place to play in SoCal. So that's kind of my plug for that. I think people should read it and just kind of, see what he has to say about not only what he has to put up with as an owner, but what about customers and people, actually what it means to support your scene.
I'm really interested to read that too, because like I had just gotten out of a discussion when I first heard about this. I had just gotten out of a discussion with a college student at my campus's arcade, and we were having a couple of matches in Third Strike, and I'm shit at that game, but I was still beating him. And then he was asking me a bunch of questions, and I pretty much told him, like, dude, you really just gotta play more, And he was like, nah, man, I don't play arcades, man. I just buy a console, never gotta fucking pay a quarter again, Like, I just wanted to rip his lips off, man. And so then I saw Watt's blog, and I was like, this is why, like, you're killing people like this with this bullshit logic.
It's funny, and we've talked about this to a certain extent, is that back when arcades were super popular in the mainstream, I think it was fair, especially if you didn't have a lot of money, to just be like, yo, it's like, why would I play here when I can buy a console and play at home for free? And now, especially within the community, what we call the FGC, it's not really that easy, because the people who give us game rooms or venues, they're not doing it because there's a lot of people, clamoring for these things. It's a small group of people. So you should support that. Mm-hmm. And I understand we don't all have a lot of money, but you should at least try.
Yeah.
If you got one in your area and people go to it, like you're really, shooting yourself in the foot by, saying you're not going to an arcade but expect to get better by playing nobody on your console.
Yeah.
It's there for you to take advantage of.
Yeah.
Why would I go to the arcade? Why would I even pay for a setup at the arcade? I'm just gonna go to the arcade and take up space. I'm gonna bring my own gas generator. I'm gonna be saving so much money.
Remember in the old days where, like, maybe I was the only kid that dreamed this, but when I was a kid, my biggest dream was like, one day I want a garage I can have my own cabs in it.
Yeah.
I think everybody wanted their own cabinets at some point.
Exactly. I still do. I would love to have, like, candy cabs all over a garage that doesn't exist yet.
I'm trying to convince Gibby to give me his MVS right now. Gibby,
Yeah,
Pretty nice.
I'll give it to you when you give me some money.
All right, you just give it to me, and then we'll talk about the money later. Preferably when you've forgotten about it because you're old.
Gibby, as your attorney, I wouldn't advise this.
Okay.
Don't listen to him.
Oh. But he's Ultra Sanchez. I gotta listen to him.
Yeah, I'm Ultra Ches.
What?
No,
When did this
he's
Don't
he's
you
Man
watch
Ches.
Ultra Ches? Yeah.
Jesus.
I'm Man Ches. I'm also Ultra Ches. Yeah, be sure to watch Ultra Chess TV, where me and Ultra David talk about all the happenings in Third Strike Law.
I thought you guys were going to talk about body hair.
Yeah, also that. It's a given. This week in Harry Dudes that play Third Strike.
This week in Harry Dudes that played Strike, Natalie Portman's boyfriend.
Oh.
that
Gibby
was
doesn't
me.
play Third Strike.
Don't know he doesn't play Third Strike.
No,
He
I've
plays
seen
Gar-
it.
I heard he plays Garo.
Nobody plays
He's
that
a
game.
Dodgers fan. Scumbag.
Yeah. What I wanted to bring up about that whole people just playing consoles, not going to the arcades. That's actually what destroyed the SNK scene in the early-ish to mid-2000s, when people started getting the Dreamcast and PS2 ports. That's it. Like, no one went to the arcade to play at all.
See, that's weird too, because like it was already like a small fringe of the already existing scene, and once it hit console, you figured like, okay, now I can, not completely forget everything I learned in the arcade, and then go back later and still be fresh, But it turned into a player game.
Yeah, what some of the people here in SoCal did, there were a few people that actually had Neo Geos, so they would just go to their houses and play instead of going to the arcade. And when what are those games called? 13 and that shitty King of Fighters game that came out, Neo Wave. I'm sorry, not 13, 11 and Neo Wave. When those were out, people went to the arcades to play them for a bit. But the moment they came out on console, that's it. Like the arcade was done.
Yeah,
That's
like
pretty
you said, like you would see KOF 11 machines everywhere that just got no play, and they look terrible too.
Yeah. Now, that's the same thing that happened up here, because like when 11 was on cab, we were all about it. We had at least like 12 people per tournament, and then it came out on PS2, and it kind of slowly petered out. Like people still wanted to go to the arcade to go and play, but a lot of people were just like, well, I can just host gatherings at my house once a month or something like that. And then people started living for the gathering, You can't live for the gatherings.
yeah.
Sounds like a title for a FGC horror movie. The Gathering.
The Gathering.
No, and that's true. That's what people would do, or SNK people would do. They would practice just for gatherings. That's it. They wouldn't really play outside of that.
Man.
And it annoyed the crap out of me.
I'm just thinking about this possible horror movie. It just writes itself.
The
Tony,
Gathering.
check this out. It would have all like the different kind of like horrible people you could meet. It's like, you've been invited to play SNK games. You have the story nerd. Did you know that Orochi is actually, the thing that's possessing you? That's why he has these powers. You have the really smelly guy. The other smelly story guy. The guy that doesn't speak English, but he does when you're not looking.
And then Hanzo Gonzo.
The Gathering.
Like we
Coming to a console release near you? I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
console release. Coming to Xbox One. Speaking of Xbox One, so I had to bring this up. So this is kind of a tie-in with my later on announcement, but Double KO Round 2 is going to be happening this Friday at Venue 550. If you're in NorCal, get out there. It's going to be great. We're going to be running Street Fighter 4 AE, Marvel, and a third game of our choice between, I believe, Cross Tekken, which has zero votes. I think the other one was Super Turbo, Third Strike, and KOF 13. Right now, Third Strike and KOF 13 are pretty much neck and neck, although I don't think most people realize they're going to be running OE. So we'll see how that turns out if it wins. But anyway...
So wait, they're
hold
running
on.
You mean Old English?
Old English. 3S OE.
Look, I'm pretty much a veteran at Old English at this point, but it depends on how long we're talking.
Oh man, I'm just
I
picturing.
can only go for so long.
Oh man, I just put Third Strike Old English edition. 'Tis a mighty fine port, but 'tis no arcade English.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
You know what? I would have
Actually-
bet that Ghetto Don was pretty good at Old English.
You know what I'm thinking, dude? All right, Third Strike has to win. Think about this, Chris. Think about this. You summon him out of his hiding to play.
It's never gonna happen.
Dude, he who shall not be named until I name him right now, Mike Wakefield.
Oh
Who
my
is
god.
Mike Wakefield?
Yeah, who is he?
I think at this point he's a software designer himself.
All right, so this is something I wanted to announce. Is I just remembered that it was important to me, like right now. So the Evo DVDs got released for fair use, just on the internet. They're out there, right? Which means I can finally stream the Ballad of Mike Wakefield.
Get on it.
I have set the download for all those DVD rips, so I can share with you all the history, the triumphs, the tribulations of one Mr. Mike Wakefield, the one game king, NorCal's Third Strike champion. And I think you'll all enjoy it. As soon as I get this download finished, and my streaming equipment back from Josh.
In 6 months, you may have a 5-minute featurette.
The best FGC documentary ever made.
But don't bet on that. Alex is lazy.
Actually, it's not going to be the best documentary ever made for the fighting game community. It's going to be the only one ever released.
Wow.
Well, let's be real.
You gotta say it.
Hey, I do believe that the Mike Ross documentary did come out.
That's not a... That wasn't a documentary. That was a work of fiction. Because I'm pretty sure somewhere in there they said he won something.
Oh, damn.
No, you just didn't hear the sentence. He won 4th place. It's different.
Okay, then it is a documentary. Filmed in real time.
There you go.
It's still
But
going.
speaking of Chris mentioning Xbox One, the VIACC is back. And it's in Killer Instinct.
In POG form?
Maybe if
form.
Killer Instinct is in POG form, then perhaps.
Actually, didn't one of the special editions of Killer Instinct come with like pins or pogs? Or they're like pins, right? Like little steel pins you can use as slammers.
Yeah, isn't the new stick just called the Slammer? Because
not using metal slammers; those are banned. Come on.
Are you sure? I mean, because you just slam on the buttons, right? Like your hands are the slammers.
Wait, hold on. I got to bring this question up. What kind of softball pogs were you playing out in the Midwest?
I mean, I had metal slammers, but they were so cheap. Like the first person to go won every time.
So cheap. So now you're just gonna ban metal slammers because you lost one game on the first turn. I see how it is, bruh.
Look, I named my metal slammer Kokonoe. All right, you happy now?
Playing to win. Okay.
I'm here in the hard streets of South Central LA playing with poison slammers. I don't even remember if they were actually laced with poison. My mind, however, wants to remember it that way. So I'm playing over here with poison slammers, and you're over there with these softball, God knows what, like rubber slammers. It's like, I don't want to get my pogs dented. You know what? Sometimes you got to break a few pogs to make an omelet.
Why are you making an omelet out of paper?
Look, I was poor, and I'm obviously living in South Central, so you got to make it what you do.
I mean,
Five-star
fair.
dining.
Fair.
What are we talking about? That sandpaper omelet.
There isn't an award to a person who makes the most difficult POG maneuvers at the end of the day. Only the one who wins.
Yeah, nobody's gonna give you like, oh man, look at that off the backboard slammer he did, where like he bounced it off his little brother's head and got all the pogs. Nobody cares about that, dude. I just get you with the brute force slam with this poison cyanide lace slammer that I had.
But
Where
like,
that cyanide, I don't know.
you guys were talking about the VICC at one point, right? I don't think everybody.
We were
remembers
talking about- I think they had to
It
derail
it got skipped over completely. But I will, Alex. You know a little bit more about the KI engine than I do.
well, the
And you
basic
watched the 5-minute video.
Yeah, the basic idea is it's a VICC. So if people who don't know what the VICC is in Alpha 2, activating a custom combo at point-blank range created this sort of pseudo-hit stun, which prevented the opponent from transitioning from a high to low block, which meant that if they were blocking high and you popped the CC right in their face, you going low immediately after the activation was unblockable.
Yep.
So what's happening in KI is if you do any move, normally the case that's presented here is shadow moves, because they have a lot of hit stun, or a lot of block stun. If you do any move that has that, and you instinct cancel, it makes it so transitioning from high to low is impossible. So the really easy example is doing something like, let's say Jay goes shadow kick or something like that, or Jay goes back fierce, which is a big overhead chop with a lot of block stun. As soon as it touches, if they were blocking high, you activate instinct and you just immediately go to low short, and it is unblockable. And since low short is like, just your combo opener, shit goes wild.
Wow.
I gotta say, somebody must have really missed that mechanic.
You ever wonder if for a team that obviously tried to mimic Street Fighter 4 with KI, like just the package and like a lot of the way that things look, I wonder if they created a checklist that they just had on the wall somewhere that said, things not to do in this game. Like, things Capcom has screwed up. There should just be a checklist where it's like, Genaijin, yeah, let's not put that in there. By a CC, let's just make sure that's not in there. Oh, crotch cancel infinites. Yeah, just check that one off. Why doesn't somebody just make that list of things not to do?
Things that are so often broken in video games that we should test them before the game is released. These things.
But we like our broken stuff, right? That gives us reason to complain. If you're not complaining while you're playing a fighting game, then why are you playing it?
To have fun?
I don't think I ever complain.
Man, we are way too old for this shit.
Thanks, Riggs. Speaking of old and games that are new again, so the Guilty Gear Loke test happened, and Bedman looks broken as fuck. Oh my God. What are you doing to me, Daisuke? Why would you do this to me? Why would you do this to me?
It's still early, man.
He has an 8-way dash like it's Marvel.
That was.
He has an unblockable super that dizzies you. Then he IKs you. What?
It's early in development. Maybe they just didn't finish up all his animations yet.
Yeah, just Daisuke just wants you to know not to sleep on Bedman.
Yeah, exactly.
Because with his
No. Can we? No, I'm stopping this right now.
His fine tuning. Daisuke's fine tuning is gonna put all your complaints to rest.
Yeah. Knew it. You see, this is why I didn't want to talk about this earlier in the show. I knew this was gonna happen. I knew it. But seriously, the character looks crazy good so far. Setting basically whenever you perform a move, it sets a symbol on the screen, and then you can activate that symbol to perform a shadow version of the move. So he has Sumo Splash, and wherever you started Sumo Splash sets a symbol on the screen that you can have Shadow Bedman come out and do Sumo Splash. That's pretty cheap.
Again?
Yes. And it will stay on screen until you use it.
Wow.
That is...
He has a boomerang fireball that also has the shadow effect. And a tornado move, like a forward spinning tornado move that also has the shadow effect. In fact, I think all of his moves do.
Shit, I'm in there.
So the shadow effect, can you activate the shadow effect any time, or do you have to be in a neutral state?
Yeah, see that I don't know.
Because if you could activate it any time, it just sounds like all of his moves would be safe if you did them correctly, right?
It honestly seems like he is the new Eddie. He's basically like Pocket Eddie. He's like, what do I want to mix up right now? Okay, now I have the mix up. Yay! And now cool on back to just being Magneto, 8-way dashing.
I'm always really disappointed when I see people play at these Loke tests because they don't my immediate idea when I saw that he has Sumo Splash as let's just call it the dream version of Sumo Splash, or he just gets to call it in a little later.
Yeah.
Is okay, so he does the regular one, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an overhead? If it is the shadow one an overhead? Or the dream one an overhead? If that's true, what abilities do I have in the game's engine to mess around with that dream version? Can I RC the dream version? Can I do dream version activate and go low if it's an overhead? Can I do dream version and then do the real one and then do another dream one immediately?
That's fucking...
I'm really curious as to how stupid this character is going to get.
Can I yellow Roman cancel it and just keep throwing them?
Yeah,
just do sumo slam, yellow Roman cancel, and then do the shadow version and then just rush in,
Yeah, see, I don't know. Obviously this is a Loke test, so the panic is normal, especially with a brand new character where you go, I don't know if that's not good. No.
See, the weird thing is though, sometimes that shit stays in there. You're just like,
yeah, exactly.
This was bad in the Loki test. They learned their lesson, and he was a selling point. Well, that would look like that was almost a fun game.
Yeah. And then of course I saw a little bit of footage of Eddie. He looks very Eddie-like. His sweep looks a little bit faster and further reaching, but it might have more recovery. the move. I don't actually remember what they're called. What was Nobiru in AC now appears to be like a straight up pillar. If I'm thinking of the right move, instead of no so you remember in the old Guilty Gear the Shadow had a hand move that went straight vertical.
Oh yeah.
That became Nobiru, which kind of hit at a diagonal angle, and now I think it's just a pillar that goes. It looks like a pillar coming out of the ground straight up. It's not Invite Hell, and it's not. I don't know that he even has EX. He doesn't really have EX drill anymore. I think he still has mine, or nobody's seen it yet, but I don't know. So.
By the way, I have to correct you. It's Zato 1.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
my bad.
Hey, man, they made it a point to call him Zato 1.
I know, but in 10 years, I have never called that character Zato, so it's gonna be a hard transition.
Yeah, man, you have to work that out of your vocabulary, man. You got to call him what he likes to be called.
Yeah.
You know?
That actually drove me nuts when I first got into the Gear community, because I played Guilty Gear and Guilty Gear X before the other ones, and I got used to calling him Zato. And when I was doing that, everyone was like, "Who the hell's Zato?" I'm like, "That guy, the blind guy."
Yeah.
Like, no, it's Eddie. I'm like, his name was Zato in the last game. No, it wasn't. No, what you talking about? Yeah. All right.
I would sit those guys down and read a very long book
I don't think
Guilty Gear lore.
I don't think they read books. I think they just read them.
They don't have to read. I'll read to them.
Uncle Hellpocket's gonna gather the chillins around for a reading.
That's right. And straight Japanese. Mukashi mukashi wa.
Wow, that was nerdy.
Yeah, it was. High soul this.
But I guess he has a new super. Don't know if you heard about it, Paul.
Yeah, I forget what it is. Somebody explained it to me and I completely forgot.
It's Eddie basically teleports between two spots, and they both hit high. I think it was, and Eddie or Zato can just go for high-low mix-ups. They're not sure if it can be set up for an unblockable yet.
Oh no, I think it can be blocked
Eddie.
both high or low,
Oh, okay.
but they don't know if it can cross up or not.
What is this pool stuff I've been hearing about? Like I saw some like move.
Oh, he has Shadow Puddle from from Accent Core. Yeah, that's one of his normal moves. But nobody was sure if it's a true low yet, or if it can be blocked either high or low.
Alright. And like now it can be like placed depending on where you do invite hells or something.
That I don't know.
I remember reading something like that because that's when I started making all those fucking like Zato and Carmine jokes.
Yeah, just make them
I gotta
puddles.
write that book.
I know that Elven Shadow has a thread somewhere on Dustloop where he talks about Bedman. I'm not sure if he talked about people saying things about Eddie as well, but
It's a dolphin super where the dolphin jumps back and forth from two puddles. Oh, that sounds ridiculous.
But like I said, it's still early. This is a log test. We'll see. Although I would imagine, since the way they were talking, it looks like this is going to be the full cast for now.
Wow. Really? That's like, let's see.
13 characters.
Yeah.
Did they really?
That's fair.
Well, what did they say to make people believe this?
I don't know. I've heard a couple people tell me this is the final cast.
Huh.
And I don't know
No.
where they got that, but
Looking at the website, it does make it seem as if it's the final cast, because you have all the returning characters all nice and arranged, and you have Bedman all gigantic on the bottom.
yeah.
So it makes sense, but I don't know. 13 is kind of like it.
For a single combatant game, it's not bad, I think. Especially for kind of a reboot, as this appears to be. I would also prefer them to focus on a smaller cast versus trying to fit everybody in there and just having like an assload of problems.
Yeah, I could see that being a possibility. Is that this is going to be the final cast for now until basically everything is worked out, and then within 6 months we get an update that maybe adds a character or two or three.
Actually,
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go on. I was just gonna say, I think all the characters who are returning are from the original Gear. Only characters who aren't there from the original Gear are Cliff and Justice, and Baldhead is
Which Gear do
Faust.
you mean? Do you mean Guilty
Like the
Gear,
original.
Guilty Gear X?
The original Gear.
Missing
Eno
Link.
and Slayer are not in original
Yeah,
Gear.
that's what I was gonna say. And then they just
Also,
added.
isn't Viken in the original Gear?
Yeah,
Yes.
she is.
Was she?
Oh.
Oh, I didn't.
She's a boss.
Yeah.
I'm really upset that Bike is not in this one. I love
Yeah.
Bike
And
is
it's supposed to take place after. Well, I guess they can get away with that since it takes place after Overture. So technically,
Well,
it's
and-
just those characters.
But,
weren't
well,
there.
technically, we still don't know when it technically takes place because they haven't really spoken on the story that much. They had the one thing where I guess what they said, they mentioned it was basically after Overture, but you know they could just say, "Oh, this is an alternate reality" because we said so.
Remember, I did bring that up, but then somebody told me it was all one universe, and now I'm just fucking turned around and everything. So,
I don't know, man.
and then they mentioned all the Overture characters in that forward reading for some
Yeah.
reason. And then everybody got hyped for like, oh man, they're gonna have Dr. Paradigm on his
Paradigm.
Paradigm on his book, hitting you with mad stylish words.
Dinosaur bird thing.
Dinosaur bird, Dino bird. Well, we can only hope. Let's see. They come out with arcade. That means it's got like maybe a little bit under or over a year of arcade life, and then they come out with a console where they just slather us with extra characters.
Yeah.
I can see that happening.
Yeah, that could happen.
Let's see what else.
Anything else?
We could talk about
Well, we already talked about
Skullgirl.
KI.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second and
Oh
the
man.
issues that Skullgirls is having. Walkman?
So right now, Konami, the publisher for the game on the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, is currently trying to delist the games from that. And what that means is that the games will not be able to be found on the PlayStation Network or the Xbox Live Arcade. The people that own it already should still have it, but nobody knows what it'll mean for online play. The PlayStation Network deadline is December 17th, and the Xbox is December 31st. Currently, Mike Z and Lab Zero staff are trying to put out a build to replace that one. And I believe that since PSN doesn't need a publisher, it'll just be through Autumn. But I think Marvelous AQ is going to pick up the publisher title for the Xbox Live Arcade version. But what this means is that for a period of time, it might just be just removed from there. The good thing is if they get it before the deadline, it won't go down, and they'll release a new version that will be have a parity update with how the PC version is currently playing. But what the problem is, I guess Konami just doesn't want to deal with it anymore, especially since after the lawsuit with Autumn over Def Jam. So I mean, Lab Zero and Sony have both asked for an extension on the deadline from Konami, and they haven't received any word back. So nobody kind of knows what's going to happen right now, other than the potential of it getting delisted.
That's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand from Konami's perspective because it doesn't make a lot of sense for them to promote something that they are no longer involved with and they have had legal dealings with the company from. But it's really unfortunate for the Skullgirls guys that they're sort of in the middle of this.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't the first time, obviously, that Lab Zero has faced hardships in the way of Skullgirls. They didn't get paid. Reverge closed down, or they didn't close down. They went off and did their own thing. So Lab Zero had to be formed. Getting the patches out. Having to run a Kickstarter just so they can keep working on the game that they want to make. It's just hardship after hardship. But fortunately, I mean, despite all of the problems that they've faced, they've still just went through and done the best they can, and so far they're still delivering for everyone out there. So I mean, that's really admirable, I gotta say. At that point I would imagine other companies would just give up at that point. not worth our time or effort.
Oh yeah, especially since they already have, you know, Skullgirls on Steam, so they just be like, well, you know, I'll fuck consoles. But
Yeah.
it's nice that they're actually trying, and you know, they plan on updating the console version to have parity with Steam eventually. So that's great.
Yeah. Another thing that is, it affects a lot more of the Western countries. It'll affect the United States. It'll affect Europe. But Japan is published by another company, so it's not going to be taken down off Japanese PSN or Xbox Live.
The irony.
Yeah. I think that's published by Cyberfront, and obviously the PC version is going to keep going strong. So
Of course.
hopefully things will get sorted out. I know that I've heard from some fans that they say Lab Zero doesn't care about Xbox 360 users, and that's couldn't be any further from the truth. They love all their fans equally, and it's not like it's their fault. I mean, Konami has done some bonehead moves for him in the first place, like when Mike gave him the patch update for the console release, and then Konami submit the wrong one, not the proper ones, and that caused even more problems. So it's just there's just problems after problems. So I mean, with Konami at the picture, and if they can get this all up and running and up to speed, sure, this takes away from work that they could be doing on their new characters and more updates to the game. But I mean, from all this, after they persevere through the problems, I'm assuming that it's going to be better for everyone. It'll be easier for them to release what they want to on a more timely schedule, and the headaches will hopefully stop. But that can't be certain.
Yep. Thanks,
We
sir.
hope for the best.
Yeah, that's all you can do, honestly, with this type of thing.
Yeah.
All right, anybody else got anything?
I don't know. I think that's pretty much it. Like, all there's left to mention is that Cafe Id KOF 13 tournament, which, I mean, like, the only real noteworthy things that occurred there were Infiltration was in it and didn't do too badly. They ran Marvel sets, which means every set was 3 out of 5, which probably meant that tournament is probably still going on right now. Some guy named Song or S Song was in it, and he won. So that was interesting. And yeah, it looked pretty cool when I started watching it, but I had other things to do, so I couldn't watch the whole thing. And they said they'd have archives up on a YouTube channel. Hopefully not the Twitch channel, because I don't know if Twitch saves archives without you acting upon it. And it'd be a shame if all that footage was just lost because somebody forgot to click a button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, that's it for me.
And I Play Winner does have an interview with Ken Sazang of Cafe ID. Or Cafe Id. I'm not really sure how it's pronounced, but
It's it.
It was originally id.
Cafe Id? Okay.
Yeah.
And there's an short interview up on I Play Winner. So check that
what
out if
about
you're interested.
Hold on. The FGC Rise of the Fighting Game Community documentary only has 58 hours to go. Look for FGC Rise of the Fighting Game Community. It's on Kickstarter. They're about 3,500 shy from the goal, with under 3 days left. So, I mean, if you really want to see a nice documentary from someone from the community, definitely check it out. I think that's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, come on, guys. I know you got 3,500 lying around, right?
And then I would say that is it for our.
Actually, I needed to bring this up. I'm sorry. I've been reading about this the entire time. I was so engrossed. So, on Fantasy Strike on the forums, Tony knows where I'm going with this. I've been reading a pretty interesting discussion about how people would tier the individual new armies, as they're called, in Chess 2. So at tier 0, which is signified as being brokenly good, it's empty. So no one's really
experimental
Paul,
tier
please.
0?
Experimental tier 0. Paul, please. We're breaking new ground here. There's nobody there, so that means the game's pretty balanced so far. But in the good but beatable tier, we have 2 kings and the empowered. And then right below that in the average, we have the animal, nemesis, and classic. So classic chess still doing pretty good. The below average is the reaper. Now in tier 4, under unplayably bad, that's just empty. So there is no horrible Dan or Sean level character, nor is there an oppressive Ivan Ooze level strategy in chess 2. Now, far be it for me to say this is the greatest game ever, because that's exactly what Tony's going to say next. But I think we should just replace fighting games altogether with chess too. Like, would so many people say that, like, yeah, really high-level Street Fighter becomes like chess, right? Well, chess is outdated. This is your grandpa's game.
Right, we're playing
Shouldn't
old
we-
ones.
Yeah, this is why are you playing that? Why are you playing, Marvel 3 when Ultimate's right there, right? So, instead of just saying high-level Street Fighter's like playing chess, why don't we just take out the middleman and go straight to chess 2?
When Sanchez was saying that's your grandfather's game, I just imagined him decked out in neon like it was one of those early 90s commercials. You've had enough with your grandfather's game.
Actually, I want to bring this up. The reason I said your grandfather's game is because that's actually the tagline on Serlin Games. When you download the rule book, it says the new win condition, in addition to your grandpa's checkmate.
You know what? I think we're done. I think I think that's the show. I think we're done here. I think we're done here.
Show's over, folks.
Show's over, folks. For everybody here at Super Desperation Radio, good night and good luck.